I was deleting the old live, and I deleted our live as we were on live. I don't know why it even gives you that option. Okay, so anyways,
All right,
so
y'all. This
yeah,
gonna be part one of Travel Nurse series with Alyssa. Right, we're gonna talk about the good and the bad, you guys.
the good and the bad. So yeah, as I was saying before, I'm from Florida back to LA, and I thought that I was gonna move from LA back to Florida and it be permanent. So that was a whole thing in itself. So, and I still haven't found a job in California. I did sign up with that company Medley, like I told you.
I'm
So
gonna look at it. I promise I'm gonna look at it.
yeah, so I don't know. So they have a bunch of shifts like per diem, but the caveat is that you have to be available like an hour before. But I mean, as of right now, I'm just hemorrhaging money and I just have no job. What's up, guys? Welcome to the
Hey,
live.
would you say, speaking on like, what would you say was the best travel job you've been on?
Probably the best travel job that I've been on, just for the clout as well, was when I was at. I'll say the name of the hospital. When I was at Cedar Sinai,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
just because that's like the number 2 hospital in the country, and like that's literally where Dr. Swan and Dr. Gons invented the Swan Gauze catheter. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, I didn't even know that Dr. Swan and Dr. Gons were real people, and that's where they invented it. And also, I don't know, it was just different, like the whole culture and everything. Like it wasn't so much like, like how like, oh, we're a family or stuff like that, but it was like everyone comes to do a good job and everyone treats each other with respect. And I don't know, I really felt like I was doing something. Like I felt like I was in Grey's Anatomy, but like the good parts of Grey's Anatomy and the real parts of Grey's Anatomy, I guess. Like I don't know, I felt like
Yeah.
it was cool. And I don't know, I was like, it was weird. I was excited to go to work all the time, which like I'm usually excited to go to work, but I was like really excited to go to work at that hospital. It was really cool.
I would say like I, I've only been on like two travel assignments when I was an ICU nurse. One was a local contract, and then one was for the pandemic, right? And the pandemic contract was pretty good because it was with crucial staffing, and for like 2 weeks they do what's called staging, right? I don't know, you know what that is, but basically you on call 24. You on call 24 hours a day. No, you was on call until 11 at night, I believe, and you had to stay in the hotel the whole time, but you got paid for every hour. So
Hmm.
I was in a hotel for like 2 weeks, getting paid like 11 grand a fucking week just to sit in
No,
the hotel.
that's lit. I heard of people in New York that happened to, that they got paid like 10K a week to just stay in the hotel because their start dates got pushed back. I never got that.
Yeah, yeah, it was like the
That
easiest 11,000 a week I made. Just and it was a good hotel. It was like a 5-star hotel. Like fucking every day, just sleep. Yeah,
where
you said what?
what state were you in for that?
I was in Dallas, Texas. I was in Dallas, Texas.
Oh, I love Dallas.
The crazy part was people still fuck that up, right? Yeah, I'm sorry for cursing. People still mess that up, right? They made a sign in the morning at like 6:45 in the morning, right? Got to
Hmm.
sign a roster showing that you here, and then you had to sign out in the evening at like 7 at night,
Hmm.
right? It was people that wouldn't even get up and get down there on time to sign the roster, and I was like, why? Like you're literally getting paid to sleep.
In New York, there were people from Crucial that were they found out that they were, because you take the bus to the assignment.
Yeah,
They get on the bus, they would get to the hospital, sign the roster that they were there, and then because it was New York, they would just leave the hospital and they would go take the subway home. And then that's when they started tracking their key cards, because then they would see like if they would like go back to check key cards and whatnot, like inside of the,
yeah,
but people were doing that because they wouldn't
but
out at the end of the day.
I would say that was the best assignment until I actually got sent to an ICU. Like mind you, like I had just finished CRNA school, I had just passed my boards, and it was like a 4 month period I had to wait for credentialing. So I just needed something to do. So I said, let me go be an ICU nurse. I had to lie on my resume to get an ICU nurse job.
Not okay, Randy.
I had to lie on my resume and say
Oh,
I had a recent ICU.
we're just
They
trying to.
wouldn't take me as a CRNA.
I'm done. I mean, it is ridiculous.
I'm like, come on, bro. Like they told me, no, you don't, you're not experienced enough to be an ICU nurse. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I had PACU jobs try to tell me I wasn't experienced enough to be a PACU nurse because like I don't per se have PACU on my experience. But in the trauma ICU, we take patients straight from the OR into the ICU. Like we recover them. Is that not what PACU does?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a couple of extra steps that goes into being a PACU nurse as far as like phase one and phase two care when it comes to discharging the patient, but it's pretty much the same
Well,
at
yeah,
the end of the day.
phase one and phase two, it's just like assessments and vitals. You know what I mean? Like and
Yeah.
like most ICUs, like they have like they give you the OR phase one and phase two, like they lay it out for you so you know what you're supposed to do. Because, and I mean, I don't know. Honestly, I'm sorry. Like some packing nurses that I've met, like I love packing nurses, but I don't know if I were to code, I would prefer an ICU nurse to take care of me than a packing nurse.
You know what's weird is a lot of ICU nurses go to the PACU. So that's why it's surprising that they didn't take you because a lot of PACU nurses are like old ICU nurses that just tired of doing ICU.
No, exactly. But I don't know. I've just been applying to a bunch of random jobs, so we'll see what I get. But there was a nurse that lied on her resume when I was in Austin, Texas, and she literally like killed a patient.
Yo, that wouldn't surprise me at all, man. Listen, when I was at this hospital in Dallas, outside of Dallas, literally one of the travel agency ICU nurses, like she was a new grad. That was her first job.
No, stop. There were when I was in New York, there were a bunch of like EMTs and like there were a bunch of ER nurses that had never worked in ICU, and like for ER it wasn't so bad. Like the ER nurses, it was just funny watching them try to change a patient in the bed. Like they had no idea how to do it. It was really funny, but there were some EMTs that like had no business being in the ICU. Like there are certain drips that like they just never took care of.
Yeah.
Like paralytics and stuff. Which granted, some EMTs like when they're in transit, they'll take care of like
Let me put my world famous scrub cap on. Oh,
done. But yeah,
yeah,
they'll
yeah,
take like levofed and stuff like that. But as far as like paralytics and like propofol and stuff like that goes, not all of them all.
yeah.
And man, these EMTs they got kicked out because they came with Crucial, and Crucial was just letting everyone and their mother like
Yes.
be in the
They
ICU.
let- Yes, listen. Like when I was there and I was talking to some of these nurses, I'm like, man, you're not even IC. Like some of them nurses were goddamn vaccine nurses. Like, what the
I'm done. Yeah, that's what the nurse in Austin. She was an MP that had never worked in ICU, and she like lied on her resume. Come to find out, and she said she worked in ICU, and they didn't know it at the time, and they gave her a patient with an EVD. And with EVDs, you have to clamp the EVD
mm-hmm.
before you ever move the patient at all.
Yeah.
And literally, she got the patient up to the bathroom, did not clamp the EVD. It was like a 39-year-old female, did not clamp the EVD, and the patient lost all the CSF, herniated, and died.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that they reported her. I'm not sure. All that I know is that literally she was gone the next day, and everyone was like, "Did you hear what happened?"
Wait, did they try to get it? You see, did they try to give it back?
I'm done. That's so messed up. But
That is crazy,
it
man. Like people really need to be careful when they apply, especially like what age would like how much experience would you recommend, before you travel as a nurse?
so this could be controversial, right? But I think that you could be good to travel as a nurse after a year. But that's saying that you're somebody who's like me. Like I had 2.5 years of ICU experience before I even started traveling.
Hmm.
Before that, I was on the floor. So like I was like so scared to travel when I went to New York for COVID. And I remember like the smartest like I don't know the smartest lady that ever, she was also my preceptor when I started. And she's like, "You're asking me for like ready, but I don't think good at a year, like for the floor, but I think at least a year and a half to 2 years in the ICU. But the biggest thing is that you have to be willing to say like, hey, I don't do that. You know what I mean? Like I'll go to
Facts.
I'll go to hospitals that like the last hospital I was at, they use an EVD setup that I had never seen. I was like some weird, like old style, like everything in that
Mm-hmm.
from the 60s. I'd never seen it. And I was like, look, to be honest, like I do EVDs all the time, and like their A-line stuff was like from the 60s. Their pumps were from the 60s. I
Just for the 60s.
Nah, they were really, really old. And they were like, yeah, we haven't updated this hospital in forever. And I was like, okay, yeah. So, but anyways, but it just matters to be like, hey, I've done this before. Can you still just walk me through it? You know what I mean? Or like, even if you haven't done it in a while, like what if I've been off for almost 2 months now. You better believe that, if I have something that I haven't seen in a minute, I'm still going to be like, yeah, I'm confident in this, but can you walk me
Don't
through
be afraid, y'all. Don't be afraid to ask. Like, hey, if you don't understand something, ask you guys. Because, like, we're in the business of keeping people alive, unfortunately. And if you don't know something, like, it's better to say something than not say something. I would say that, like, my first time travel gear was a local hospital. Like, I was at a level 1 trauma center. And then before I started CRNA school, I wanted to make some extra money. So I was like, you know what? There's some local gigs out here paying. I think they were paying like $49 an hour. I was like, oh, that's a lot of money right
it?
there. 49, because I was only getting paid $26 an hour.
Yeah, that's how much I was making as a staff
So
nurse.
I was like, man, $49 an hour, man. That's like, yeah, that's
Yeah, I'm a few.
definitely double my salary. Like now, and I'm like, what the fuck? When I got to this place, right? Yo, it's just like you described. Old everything, like old policies, old equipment, old this. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. Yeah, that's how this last place. I was like, oh my god, it was so bad. This last place that I was at, the IV pumps could only infuse one thing at a time. Like they couldn't even do pigbacks. Like you must prime the shit yourself and count it by the minute. Like,
but wait, you still know how to count?
of course,
You know how to do a manual drip?
of course. Well,
But
because
hey, listen,
In Florida, if the power goes out, that's like the one thing that they're very strict on. At least in my nursing school, they were, because like hurricanes are real. Like, and if the pumps die like that, and like you only have a certain amount of plugs, you can use them for the vents, but that's it. So
I like that. I made a TikTok video where sometimes like when I'm in an OR and I run a drip, like a pressure or something like that, I'll just hang in and run it manually.
yeah,
Put
I mean,
on a micro dripper and then calculate it by and just calculate the drips.
yeah, I mean, a lot of ERs that I work in, I never had like an ER job, right? Like they always just put me in the ER though, like whenever I'm in ICU. So I guess I have had ER, but whatever. But what's it called? But they never use pumps over there. Like you try to look for a pump, you'll never find one. So, but they don't even be counting. Like I don't know, I'm anal about it. I be really counting.
Nah, yeah, you gotta count. Yeah, that's that third world medicine. If you ever go on like a mission or something like that, you like you don't have the luxury of everything we got. So you have to have those skills. I feel like 95% of nurses couldn't do a manual drip like that.
A lot of nurses honestly don't even like, to be honest, know the full ACLS and BLS. Like showing up as an ICU nurse to respond to codes on the floor, which I don't blame them though. I blame their floors and their education for it. You know what I mean? Like if their floors aren't educating them on it and running fake codes, if they work on a floor that they don't have many codes, until like when they call a code, until the ICU gets there, sometimes the code doesn't even start. Like sometimes they don't even have like the competence and like sense of mind to start CPR, because they're freaking out because they don't experience it as much. Like it's kind of scary, like how incompetent some people can be, but it's
Yeah,
a lack of education, and I think just it's on
right.
the hospital too. Like when I worked on the floor, my manager would be like, "Hey, can you go get that
Hey,
call?"
Vita.
Hey girl, but my manager would be like, hey, can you go get that call light in 10? And I'd be like, yeah, and I go in there and it'd literally be a mannequin, and my charge nurse would be standing in there and be like, this is your patient in 11. You walk in and they're blue. What do you do? And you would call a fake code over the hospital. They would call it over the overhead. You get like the fake crash cart, like the practice one, and you run through it. You know what I mean? Like, but my floor like made sure that we were prepared because they knew we didn't have codes a lot, and that was before I went into ICU. So I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of things
Mm.
to be done.
So how would you suggest budgeting between assignments?
I feel like I budget pretty well between assignments, except this time around because I feel like I just banked on the fact of knowing that I would have a job. not the fact that I was probably gonna cancel the contract. But for me personally, like you have to always budget in your rent. You have to always factor in your rent. And for me, I usually live out of Airbnbs, but now I got a place that I'm a rent. But I usually spend at least $5,000 in between assignments. Half of it
Y'all
is
hear that?
half of it is for living, and then like the other half is for my rent. So I just and that's just within like a month and a half, 2 months, and it sounds like a lot, but I don't know. I'm not spend crazy. I'm pretty good at budgeting. My two roommates that I lived with, like they spend like crazy. I can't even imagine how much they spend in between assignments.
Ooh.
So, but I think it's good to a lot of people use that app Nurse Wallet. And then I don't know, check your bank account every day. That's the most sobering experience you can have when you see how much you're swiping your own card when you don't have money coming
Yeah.
in. So
Swipe. Hey, the old saying is the more you make, the more you spend. That thing, I think it holds true, right?
yeah.
Like, just think about how much money I make, and like I don't spend much at the CRNA, but I still spend more than I spent as an ICU nurse. So like, people just need to check their bank account like often. Like, how often would you check your bank account? Daily or weekly or?
So when I'm working and I have a secure job that I know I'm gonna have money coming in, I don't check my bank account at all, really, maybe a month, honestly. And then I get like the fraud text if I get any fraud going on. Like I don't check it at all. And then I just go on there to pay my credit card every month. But when I'm not working, I'll be checking it every day just to remind myself, like, hey, don't go broke, don't go broke. But also, when I'm working and I have an assignment as a travel nurse, I do try to pick up more shifts because I think about times in between assignments when I'm sitting there like, dang, like I wish I had money coming in. And so that really like gasses me up to want to pick up shifts and be like, if they text me and they're like, yo, you want to pick up? And I'm like, yeah, of course, because I don't want to be sitting there with no job in a month from now and be like, damn, I wish I picked up that shift. So that's how I.
Oh, and for anybody that's watching this video, we're gonna do more podcast stuff like this, right? Listen.
Yeah, we're gonna do more podcast stuff. You guys gotta let us know what you want to see, though. Hi to the 6 people in here. I can't see who's in here. You guys want to drop a hi in the chat?
Yeah, drop a hi in the chat, you guys. Where you guys from? Yeah, I think budgeting is a big thing, especially when you're traveling, and just recognizing that a lot of times you're gonna have to pay taxes in each individual state. Did you run into that?
So I stopped doing my own taxes when I became a travel nurse because I am financially hi Josie, but I am financially just not there when it comes to taxes. I did my taxes on TurboTax one time and I did it incorrectly and the IRS came for me. So so yeah, but I have a tax person. Hi from Idaho, love that. But
Yep, I don't know.
But yeah, so I have a tax person and I actually usually get money back. She's good. I pay her like $500 and then this year I got like 6,000 back actually. But I also feel like I probably pay the max cuz I don't claim anything on my taxes. I don't even claim myself. You know how some people claim number 1? I don't do that cuz I'm scared.
I don't either. Honestly, I don't claim any exemptions. I'd rather them take the max out. That way, at the end of the year, when I file my taxes, I don't owe, and I may get a tax refund. So almost like a little savings account, if you will. But
Exactly.
yeah, like
Free money.
I have a friend who she's a CRNA now, but she couldn't get licensed in the state of Ohio. Why? Because she didn't pay her taxes when she was a travel nurse in Wisconsin,
Oh
and they
my
suspended her license in Wisconsin.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. When I was in New York, just going back on New York and like pandemic nursing, you guys know we were making 10,000 a week. Hi from Cali. Hi Emily. I'll be in Cali next week. But so, we were making 10,000 a week gross in New York, but granted, we were working literally every single night. But a lot of the crucial nurses, just a lot of the nurses in general, were not claim. They were completely going tax exempt. And like I said, I don't know much about taxes, but what I do know is you can look it up online. And I looked it up like on the tax website, and there's 3 reasons why you can go tax exempt. I can't remember them right now, but I didn't fit any of those 3 reasons, and neither did any of these nurses. And now you're seeing like 2 years later, you're seeing nurses pop up like the IRS is saying I owe them 100K because if you worked 10 weeks, that's I don't know. That's a lot of money. That they
Yeah, it's a lot of money. That's why I recommend one, if you can, like, build your savings, uh, as you go along, because you're making more money. Build your savings, because you don't know, like, especially if you're single and traveling, and you're making all this money. What up, Brooklyn? And the tax code don't favor single people at all.
not at all.
They want, just budget for half of you. Listen, to be safe, y'all, budget for half of your money to go to taxes.
Be safe. So also what I do is I try to, since you know a lot of the companies that I work with, they either don't have retirement accounts, or if they do, they don't have retirement accounts that match. So instead what I do is I do like the Merrill Edge guided investing, and that like invests for you automatically. But
Love it.
I have a brokerage account with them where I put 500 in a month like minimum. I have that.
Smart.
And then I also do I have a Roth IRA, and I think the max is like 7K a year. It changes every year. But I max that out, and then after I max that out, I just start throwing money into a brokerage account, and then after I get sick of that, I also have a high yield savings account with Amex. So
Yo, see, hey, you doing everything right. I love it.
yeah, well
I
my
love it.
brother does a lot of financial stuff, so he always like puts me on with what I should be doing. And the Merrill Edge guided investing though, like that has made me so much money. The automatic trading, like I don't know. I'll
Yeah, yeah.
in my free
Yeah,
time, but
that's one thing I feel like nurses are. Nurses are bad with when it comes to finances, right? Like, you go from high school to nursing school to becoming a nurse, so you really get no financial literacy classes
yeah,
during your undergraduate. So I think you come out behind the ball game, behind the curve when it comes to financial literacy. The bright side is I think a lot of people are figuring it out since the pandemic, um, and investing. And just because they want to leave nursing altogether, they find the different avenues of generating passive income and things like that. So yeah, hopefully people figure it out.
there's
And hire an accountant.
oh
Get
yeah,
an accountant.
and
Listen, spend the money. Spend, you making more money, like spend the money on the accountant, and you could, and that's a tax deduction off your, like, they write the preparation fees off, on your taxes. So spend the money.
do you have an accountant?
Mm-hmm.
Really? What do they do?
I ain't got no choice.
What do they do for you?
They do bookkeeping for me. Tax preparation. They do tax preparation, bookkeeping for me. I as far as like retirement, I go through Fidelity, and yeah, you could use one of the financial advisors for Fidelity. So they do the bookkeeping and payroll for me. I give them access to my business account. They prepare my quarterly taxes because I gotta pay quarterly taxes, y'all. And
Dang,
then they tell me how much I can take out for myself or pay myself as a business, and then the rest stays in the account till the end of the year, and in case I need to pay an additional amount. So yeah.
dang. All right, you're making me want to go to CRNA school.
Oh, you should come, man. You should come. Uh, I gotta go pick up Brandon.
You gotta go up.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
So you want to do a part two of this?
yeah, definitely, because I have some questions to ask you about CRNA school.
Oh, I got you. I got you. I got you. I got a ton of answers for you, and I just posted a video when I did an interview of a program director for my ICU from a CRNA school, and he answered a lot of questions as well. The quality is not that great, but you can hear everything we talking about
You just posted that on your TikTok or your YouTube?
on Instagram, on YouTube,
I don't
on
have
YouTube, YouTube.
Instagram. Okay, cool. So
It's
yeah,
on my YouTube.
brain about CRNA school. I think that there's probably a lot of nurses that have a lot of questions. It's like
Yeah, if they got questions, just ask. We're gonna do this again. Hell, whenever she's free and available. Hell, it might be this afternoon if I pick my children up.
yeah, I'm down. I'm down. Yeah, because tomorrow I'm gonna start driving to Cali, so I'm gonna be busy for a week.
So yeah, we're gonna do a part two. Well, we could do a part two tonight, you guys, or this evening,
Yeah, I'm down.
and finish the conversation. We got off to a little rocky start figuring this out, but we're gonna make it up. We're gonna post it. We're gonna go live again. Give me like an hour to pick Brandon up and come back, and we could go back live again if you want.
I'm down. All right, let me know. All
All
right,
right.
guys, watching. See ya.
See you. How do you get out?